Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. I'm just sort of sorting myself out here. Normally, I do this in my basement, but today I'm actually watching an auction. So I'm going to show you the auction. One sec here. I'm going to move my tabs around here so I can see it better. And I'm going to actually show a whole bunch of books, but I'm just watching the end of this auction. So I'll just flip over to one sec. So let's see how I can do this. I'm not sure how this quite works. I'm still getting used. I'm always having issues with StreamYard. I'm not the best with it. And let me see if I can present, share screen. And it should be this one. So you should be able to see my, yep. So you should see my screen now. So this is an auction that I'm watching right now. And if you notice, there's an item I'm about to bid on. So this is why I try to balance the two because I'm trying to get this one auction win and also do the broadcast, do the Spooktacular for you guys. So yeah, it's an auction for an item. It's an LB Cole Terrifying Tales number 12, and hoping that I'll win. And we'll see. It's coming up very, very soon. There's a bunch of Ninja Turtles, and then it's the item that I've been watching. so it should be funny if I win this or not. But then I'm going to show you a bunch of books. So first, we're going to watch this auction on Heritage, which is just finishing up now, and then I'm going to show some books. So it should be fun. And I can hear my children coming back from trick or treating in the background. You can hear the noise of them coming in. So yeah. So hi John. So yeah, hopefully people are watching this. Yeah. So you can see the auction is just about to come up. We'll see how it goes. I only put a bid of around 310. So we'll see if it's enough to win. But it is kind of a cool comic, and it is Halloween. So generally these pre-code horror comics go a little crazy during this time of year. So we'll see it. It's next item on the list. Yeah, so it should be interesting. You can put comments in. I'll try to read the comments as I'm doing this. And if you comment, I will kind of respond. But we're just watching this auction. This is the item that I've been waiting for. I'm winning at 310. Will I win this? Oh, I got a bid again. And let's see if I can win this thing. So it's one of the last ones that I need. I only need two more of these to win. Oh, and I won it. So that's good. A little bit more than I wanted to pay, but definitely a cool win. So that was the auction that I had to watch. I just had to watch that quick auction. And you can see these Heritage auctions. Yeah, they run fairly long. Actually, this one I'm surprised. The Thing, this is going pretty cheaply. I paid 160 for my copy, and it's like a 8.0. So that was really cheap. That was a good deal. So you can tell that book never goes for very much. It seems to be very common. Hi, Graphic Man. So yeah, I was just on a show with Graphic Man just a little while ago. Very cool. Very cool guy. He does some pretty amazing art. So yeah, so I'm just watching this auction, and I'm just sort of chilling. I'm hiding out during Halloween. My family all went trick or treating. And I'm here in my office, sort of. I was working up till a few minutes ago, and now I'm just sort of chilling. But I will now switch back to solo layout, and you can see all the junk behind me. Normally I hide it with my my slabs, but you can see it's like my judo trophies and and my little kids photos and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to show you some cool comics. that's really what this is all about. I wanted to show you some fun stuff and just really show you some cool things that I have in my collection. I try to gather as many of the pre-code horror stuff as I could, and some other cool things that might be interesting as well. So I grabbed my Black Cat collection. One sec here, it's all mixed up a bit. So I'm going to show you some Black Cat. So this is once it went into the code. This is Black Cat number 65. It's nice, kind of a cat thing. So Black Cat is kind of an interesting series because it went from Black Cat, which was like sort of a superhero story. She was like a Hollywood celebrity, knows judo, would fight crime. And then it went into a Western. So the next thing is it went into like a Western series. So you got like this Black Cat, and she's all they did is they, instead of her riding a motorcycle, which she did in her first issue, they have her on a horse. So it's like, okay. And then later, it was then called, they actually changed the name to Black Cat Western. So this is Black Cat Western. And actually have one of the earlier ones where it's more like the superhero ones. Black Cat number 9. And later on, I'm not sure where I put it, but I had to somewhere in here, somewhere where I grabbed it. There's ones where the series became like a horror series. It became Black Cat Mysteries, and it was devoted towards horror. And there's a lot of these really great pre-code horror covers that were happening in Black Cat. And so it kind of, and then when the code came back, it came into play. They went back into being superhero story. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of one of those weird titles where it kind of evolved and kind of came right back where it started. So I'm going to show you some more stuff. So the one that I bid on, if you guys saw me bidding on that item at the beginning, that was, hi Dragon, Dragon Inc., Jamie. So yeah, it's good that you came. So yeah, so I'm just showing some pre-code horror. So the one I bid on the Heritage Auction was part of the series for Terrors of the Jungle and Terrifying Tales. So it's kind of like a series where it's a mix of the two. And I'll show you some of the covers from it. It's all L.B. Cole. It was part of Star Publications. And Star Publications was L.B. Cole's attempt to have his own publishing. So it was kind of cool. Where basically he created his own publishing house, and he bought the rights from Novelty Press, and he basically reprinted their stories inside of his stories with a new cover. So these are reprints, but they have cool covers that are done by L.B. Cole. So yeah, just kind of cool. And I'll show you just a bunch of them. I almost have the complete series of these Terrors of the Jungle, and it was sort of a mixed series. So there's like Terrors of the Jungle, and it was mixed with Terrifying Tales, and I'll show you that as well. So this is Terrors of the Jungle, nice kind of cover. Lots of bondage and women in like it's kind of like bikini leopard suits. I don't know how to describe it, but this is the same series, but it was renamed. It was changed from Terrors of the Jungle to Terrifying Tales, and you got this sort of women in bondage, jungly kind of thing. And there was a lot of really great covers that were involved, and they just had really great colors. Like you'll see, Terrors of the Jungle again. I kind of mixed the two collections together. And yeah, it was just really, the colors that L.B. Cole used were kind of like these, almost like, reminds me of like, sort of these psychedelic or, just sort of really vibrant colors. It's pretty crazy. So we got another Terrors of the Jungle. This is Terrors of the Jungle number 8. And then we got Terrors of the Jungle number 18. This one's like kind of some kind of demon-like guy, or he's like, his face is on fire. It's kind of crazy. And then we got Terrors of the Jungle #6. So as I said, I'm trying to get the complete run of these books. Most of the copies that I have are raw, and they're really quite beautiful. If you like good girl art, these are pretty awesome covers for good girl art. And then I got one slab. So this is another really great slab. You know, these LB Cole covers were pretty awesome. And there's usually a lot of little details that you can't really notice unless you kind of look up close. But just, you know, kind of it reminds me of something like, you know, that you see almost like on a one of those kind of velvet paintings or something like that. Yeah, kind of reminds me of that for some reason. But just, you know, his stuff's pretty cool. And so I brought that series to show you guys, but I also brought some other cool things. So one of the cool things, I'm going to turn off the auction in the background, is I brought my whole collection of Fiction House. Now, Fiction House was not really necessarily pre-code horror or anything horror related, but they did venture into horror as well. But the thing that they were sort of famous for is sort of good girl bondage covers. And I'm going to show you a few of these. So this is Fight Comics number 41. It's just kind of a cool cover. So when I think of horror, I don't always think of just pure horror comics. And the reason I'm telling you this, it'll make sense in a bit, but I think of this horror situation, like the terror, the thrilling sort of side of horror, where it's this girl is pretty much like she's tied to the paddle, the wheel of this boat, and things are not going to go well for her. So I think of that as being kind of horror-like. So I was thinking about that. And I kind of want to show you some of my Fight comics and then lead into what my point of that is. I'm going to show you a bunch of Fight comics. This is a Lily Renee. This is Senorita Rio. Senorita Rio. My Spanish is terrible. Number 47. Kind of a cool cover with her. But then, as I was saying, they did kind of have these kind of horror-like covers. Like this is kind of like, you know, a decapitation cover. Like this is Fight Comics number 31. It's crazy. Like you can see the. Let's see if I angle it correctly. I'm not really good at this whole. Wait, this way? Yeah, there we go. You can really see the decapitation. It's just so crazy. So some of these covers were horrific, is maybe the word that I'm looking for. And I think, you know, that kind of fits the whole horror spectacular theme that I'm trying to provide for you guys. I'm going to put that over there. Move these over as well. I'm going to show you some more. I got a ton of Fight that I brought, and there's some really great ones. Like this is the very last issue from the series. And it's just, you know, it's not as interesting as some of the earlier stuff. Oh, hey, Captain's here too. Hi, Captain. I was just talking with him a few days ago. So yeah. And oh, hey, Lyle. And Brando. Brandon. So hi, Brandon. So yeah, so just saying hi to everybody. And yeah, just this is the last in the series, and it's pretty. Actually, it's a fairly cool cover. You got this tiger kind of, you know, giant tiger, kind of like looks like it's going to eat his head. But you know, the Fight comic series had so many great covers, and I'm going to show you some of the great covers. I mean, they kind of went all over the place. They went into like the Tiger Girl stuff. This is Tiger Girl, similar to Sheena. So Fiction House was also the company that produced Jumbo Comics, which was the company that produced Sheena, Queen of the Jungle. But they had this sort of similar character, which was Tiger Girl. This is Tiger Girl here. And a lot of the covers of Tiger Girl were done by Maurice Whitman. These are Maurice Whitman ones. This is one of the more crazy ones where you got, you got it's not female bondage, it's not male bondage, it's monkey bondage. Like, look at that. He's like all bound up there. It's kind of crazy. Just a really crazy cover. So some of these have really awesome covers. This is another Maurice Whitman. Just you know, this shows you what Tiger Girl was like. Very similar to Sheena. Very similar. And then we got. I'll get to the non Tiger Girl ones in a second here. And another thing that they would do is these kind of hooded figures. This is another Senorita one. I think this is her first cover appearance, actually. And then this is like, you got like these weird guys in the hooded figures. And they like doing that. That was a kind of one of the tropes of the Golden Age, where, you know, menacing figures, they just put a hood on them. And that was like a way of making them seem more scary, I guess. And one of the most famous covers from Fight Comics, and this one I just picked up, and it's going to be seen, you'll see it in a future unboxing, is Fight Comics number 35. And this one is probably the best one I've ever seen of this cover. Best like colors for it. Usually Fiction House has a tendency of fading. And you know, they would have like this whole thing where their covers would fade. I don't know why, but they did. And one sec here. I'm looking up a question. Fight. I'm trying to look up the year that Fight Comics started. So yeah, so this one is kind of a cool one. It's not a high grade because it does have a pretty mangled spine, but the colors are good. It's a good cover. So it's one of those ones where I'm going to probably get it slabbed, and you won't see the fact that it's like got this bad spine. So what year did Fight Comics begin? It began in 1940, January of 1940. So just right into 1940. And some of the covers are just amazing. Like, I'll show you some more Fight Comics. One second, I gotta take time. Classic. So this one is like, you know, again, women in peril, kind of crazy scenes. They would do a lot of war propaganda covers. So this is one of those war propaganda ones. This is from 1943. And, you know, typically a lot of the Fight Comics would show Japanese. So the decapitation cover that I showed earlier was one where it was Japanese soldiers. It almost looks like Vietnam because it's kind of jungly, but it was actually Japanese soldiers that were getting decapitated. But this is an example of another Japanese soldier, and the woman, she's going to go for a spin, I guess. So yeah, just kind of a cool cover. This is Fight Comics 27. And I'm trying to get all the cooler covers for Fight Comics. And I actually have a ton more. I just gotta move things around. I grabbed a bunch from my thing. I just gotta make sure I have them. One sec here. No, I didn't grab it. I thought I grabbed something. One sec here. Grab my punch. One sec here. Oh yes, here it is. I had to kind of look around. Okay. Now, okay, so the next series that Fiction House did, and that I kind of wanted to show, was Planet Comics. So I'm just going to show some Planet Comics. This one's in really rough shape, but it is a great one. It's like Planet Comics 24. It's one of the early ones. The really early Planet Comics were called the Rivet series, and this one doesn't have it, but on the early ones they'll have like rivets on the Planet comics, and you can, those ones are called the rivet issues. So the later ones didn't have the rivets, but it's still a cool issue. Let's see if I can take it out of this plastic, make it show a little bit better. This one has a lot of water damage, but it is still a pretty cool cover. These Planet comics were pretty great from Fiction House because they would have monsters, they would have sci-fi, they'd have good girl art, all mixed into one. So it was generally kind of cool kind of stuff going on. And you can see that this woman's like, she's riding like this weird creature, kind of crazy stuff going on. And then another one, this is a Lily Renee. And this kind of Spider Queen girl, kind of a cool cover. And, sort of horror-like elements to it too, because, you got all these kind of people trapped in the web. You can see them all sort of trapped in the spider web. And then the people are in a bubble, kind of crazy. And we got another one. As I said, a lot of these kind of space monster theme and good girl art covers. A lot of these were done by Joe Doolin, who's one of the primary artists for Fiction House, Planet Comics, I should say. So Joe Doolin did a lot of these ones. And we got some more Joe Doolin. This is number 46. Just kind of an Amazonian kind of like woman, very broad looking woman. And the guy is in bondage, so that's kind of interesting. And here's another Lily Renee. Lily Renee is just recently passed away. So this one's kind of an underwater one. I picked this one up relatively cheaply because it had water damage. So it's kind of funny that it's underwater cover and it suffered water damage. So kind of ironic. But it is a cool cover with the mermaid in the background. So yeah, just a really kind of a cool cover. And we got some more Joe Doolin. This is Planet Comics 50. So see if I can make it show a bit better. You got the little, like, as I said, there was like weird horror elements. So this is like a skeleton hand with a gun. So I can see if I can make it show a little bit better. And kind of, Joe Doolin's kind of known for leggy art. He would draw a lot of girls and show lots of leg. That's kind of his style. So you can sort of recognize it once you see it. If you see lots of leg, that means it's probably Joe Doolin that did the cover. So yeah, this is Planet Comics 50. Here's another. This one's kind of a more beautiful cover. I like this one a lot. This is Planet Comics 65. Sorry, 65. Another kind of great Joe Doolin cover. Very space-like. And number 68. This one's in rough shape. I have a big chunk of it missing here, but they, lots of really great stuff. And they sure had a lot of imagination for those great comic covers. I really think so too. I mean, some of these covers are just really, really, there's so much going on them. Like you got these alien guys down here that are climbing up the hill. You got them trying to escape, and you got this flying saucer that's blasting them and stuff, and just so much going on. And it's just, really phenomenal artwork. And then back here. So yeah, so I brought like a ton of stuff to show. And I kind of wanted to show, the reason I was showing all these was really to get into another series that actually was not considered a horror series either. And I kind of talked about this in one of my other videos where I was like saying, oh, people were asking me, is this series the first horror series? And I said, no, it isn't. And that's why I kind of wanted to show you some of these books that, these are like 40s, from the 40s. Really pre-code horror became a thing in 1947, where you get the first series devoted to horror, which was eerie. And it was a one-shot, but then got revived into ongoing series. But there was another series called Punch Comics that had a lot of horror themes. And I'm going to show you some of the horror ones from Punch. This is kind of horror. I don't have too much horror books from Punch because those are the most expensive covers. So this is Punch 15. The big one that's really expensive for Punch is number 12, and it's like a giant skull. And that one's just crazy expensive. I don't have it, sadly, but this is Punch 15. And Punch was kind of one of those series that was all over the place, just like I was talking about with Black Cat. It was kind of all over the place. It started as one thing and then became another thing. Well, Punch Comics really kind of went between cartoons, superheroes, and detective stories. So this is where it was sort of cartoony. And inside of each issue was kind of a mixture of those three genres, but no horror. They were detective stories, they were crime stories, but not true horror stories. So this is like, more of the cartoony kind of comic style. And then we get, one sec, where did I put my other, oh yeah, here. Then we got this was more the detective style. Now, a lot of people, when they see this, is say, oh, this is pre-code horror, but it actually isn't. It has like, yeah, you don't have Punch 12 either. I wish somebody would have it and just send it to me. Yeah, Punch 12 is a very, very pricey book. It's probably one of the best covers from Punch Comics. But this is a cool one too. A lot of people think that these are horror covers, but really they are detective comics, crime comics. But it is still a very cool cover and has horror elements. And that's why I was showing the Black Cat, because it's has that kind of horror elements to it. Okay, so kind of wanted to show those. And I found one more Planet Comics. Actually, I have a ton more Planet Comics downstairs. Actually, I found a couple more Planet Comics to show. I always like showing these Planet Comics. They're some of my favorite books. Again, this is a Maurice Whitman cover. And just a really cool cover. Again, it looks like she's working with the demon guy or monster guy, and she's luring these astronauts over to her. I don't know, maybe to feed the monster. So just kind of cool. Actually, at the beginning of this video, I was showing like a heritage auction. And before this video started, I was bidding on a bunch of Planet Comics that were going up on Heritage. And I lost every single time. I lost all of them. They all went one or two more bids above me. And it's just, they're really hard to get. There's a lot of people that are hunting after these books. And it's always frustrating because I never seem to win. So there's that one. And I have one more Planet Comics to show. It's kind of another kind of a cool cover as well. I'm not sure how well that's coming across, but this is another Maurice Whitman. After a while, you sort of get to know the styles of the different artists once you see the covers over and over again. This one has like sort of this weird skeleton-like, almost reminds me of a turkey. I don't know why, but and then this sort of like a bug-like, like it almost has like legs, like bug, and kind of a weird like machine thing behind them. It's kind of a very interesting cover. But that's Planet Comics number 73. Another series that is kind of considered like one that people chase after. So we talked about Punch 12 as being kind of a grail book, and that's a book that's way beyond my price range. But I did get a couple cool books, and I managed to get a few cool books for my collection. And one of them is this one. This one is considered kind of a semi-grail. I wouldn't say it's a big grail or anything like that, but but it is one that people chase after. This is Red Seal Comics number 14. It's got all the classic elements to it. So it's got skulls over here. You can see all the skulls. It's got the hypodermic needle right there. You can see the hypodermic needle. You got the good guy in the background, okay, and he's coming in to rescue the girl. And the girl is in the red dress, with red shoes even, and she's all tied up, and she's about to be operated on by the mad scientist. And this is considered like one of those classic covers. And it's actually, even in the golden age, this cover was redone by other other comics because it was just such a classic cover. This is considered one of those semi-grails of the golden age kind of horror genre. What else do I have to show you guys? Another series that has a lot of really, really great covers and is kind of considered one of the great unknown, like, you know, everybody knows Planet Comics. Like when you first started collecting to the golden age, a lot of people they gravitate to Planet Comics. But then there's some of these unknown series, these hidden series that people search out for and they learn about, and they're sort of privately popular. And I'll give you an example of that. Mr. Mystery. There's a few grails within the Mystery run that are really, really pricey. And you have to kind of get a Gerber guide to see all the different covers. Generally, what I'll do is I'll go to like my comic shop or something like that, and I'll actually wait. Maybe I'll even share you a new window. One sec here. I'm going to actually show you some of the covers. I'm going to share you my screen. One sec here. Stop screen. Present. Share screen, and let me just share. Okay. So you should see my screen here. Yeah, now you should see my screen, right? And I'll put me on this as well. Wait, oh, that didn't work. One sec here. Like that, maybe? Okay, so there. Okay, so I'm going to show you some of the covers for. One sec here, once I get in here. Mystery. Oh, Mr. Mystery, yeah. Search. It's being annoying. One sec here. Mr. Mystery. Okay, one sec here. That'll work. So I'm just going to show you some of these covers. You can see how this one's like a really cool one. And hi, Epoch. You're up early. He's in overseas, and it's good to see him join the channel. Okay, so yeah, so I'm just showing some of these Mr. Mystery ones. You can see they have some really great covers. And I'll show you the one that, so I actually have that one. So you can see my copy down in the little screen. I have it too. Here, I'll make myself big for a second. So that's the same one that I have. And I'll go back to presentation mode. So yeah, so I actually have some of these Mr. Mysteries. I've been trying to collect them. So you can see, actually that's a pretty good price. It was like, and then you got this cool praying mantis one. So you can pick them up. You know, some covers are a little bit more expensive. This is like one of the more expensive ones where you got the painter and he's like painting the woman in bondage. This is one of the covers I really want to get, actually. But if you look at the price, it's pretty expensive. So that's one of the things that's been preventing me from getting it. Then we got some more kind of like these terror-like ones, different ones. Let me just sort of scroll through them. One sec here. Actually, I'll just actually do it this way. This is another one that I've been chasing after. Mr. Mystery number 6. Actually, there's an eBay auction going for this one. I'm hoping to win it. So yeah, this is another one that I'm trying to win. And then we got Mr. Mystery, another Mr. Mystery. This is really great cover too. Like just one, I actually almost got this one a couple times, and every time like I sort of back out for the last minute and I miss out on the bid. But this is a really great cover as well. Sort of that typical scene where you get somebody being buried alive. And then we got, this is another one I almost won, actually. I was just outbid at the last second, where it's like some dead body in the plumbing. This always reminds me of, there was a Homer Simpson episode where you just would randomly scream. And yeah, and it was sort of this situation where he found some dead body in the pipes. So you can see Mr. Mystery had some really great covers. And actually, I picked up a few. There's this one as well. It's really famous. And one of the more expensive ones is this one with the ants crawling all over the guy's face. It's kind of a cool one. It's like, but this is probably the most famous of the Mr. Mystery ones, with some, like, because of Seduction of the Innocent. And one of the things with the Seduction of the Innocent was that Frederick Wortham, who wrote the book, he really didn't like the fact that there could be injury to eye. That was one of his major pet peeves, and with comics. So this kind of thing, where it's like a hot poker to the eye, would have really freaked Wortham out. So this is considered one of the grails from the Mr. Mystery run. This is a really hard book to find, and it's usually really, really pricey. Number 13, I actually have this book. You'll see it in a future unboxing. This book will be in one of my future unboxings because it's one of those ones that you'll see in the next unboxing from me, this book. So I picked this one up. And there's another one that's kind of lots of ghouls and stuff. Just some really great covers. I just kind of want to show you all these covers. And this is one I keep on wanting to buy this one, actually. I really like this one. I think it's a great good girls plus horror kind of style cover. And we got, let's see, this one's, another one I've seen go for a fair amount of money in high grade. And there's not that many more. There's just this one. Another bondage cover, and Shrunken Heads. Another really classic horror element that they loved in the Golden Age was these shrunken heads. And you'll see that a lot. And this was the last issue, number 19. I have number 19. I always try to get the last issue of these series. So yeah, so that was the Mr. Mystery run. And as I said, I have so far, I have like 3 issues from the whole run. Which is number 3, which is kind of a cool ghoul in the subway scene. And somebody said that they have number 6. Lyle said he had number 6. What was number 6? Number 6. Oh, wow. Number 6 is one of the ones I'm trying to get, by the way, Lyle. I'm hoping to win it. It's on eBay auctions right now that I'm trying to win. But I'm sort of worried I'm going to get outbid. And this is the last issue from the run. It's not the greatest issue, not the greatest cover, but I actually kind of like it. It's sort of interesting. So this one, is very affordable. So the big issues are the ones with the good girl bondage and the more gruesome elements, and those can go for big money, as I was showing in the on my comic shop. Okay, so those are some of the Mr. Mysteries, and another series that I kind of talked about is this one. I'm gonna grab it. Is Eerie. I was kind of going on about how really it was this series, this is the second volume of that series, or the second series of it. The first series, number one, the very first one, I just saw, I think it was like a 1.5 or something like that, and it sold for a few thousand. Just really expensive to get number one. Now, this is the second series, and this is number one of the second series, but still a cool cover. And this one is from 1951. So what you'll find is the first, like Eerie number one from the first series came out in 1947. Now, this one is 51. And it really, by this point, more and more companies are starting to get into horror-related stuff. EC is starting to get into horror, and it wasn't that long. It was amazing that it wasn't long before the comic companies got into horror that it switched and became like the Comic Code Authority. Like I think them going into horror really marked the end of comics from the Golden Age, because it was a very short-lived run. So what would happen is each comic would try to get more and more gruesome. And by 1953, 54, you get the most brutal and crazy covers. So generally the ones that are in that 1953, 1954 era are usually the most rare and the most sought after books, because they have the most kind of crazy covers. And they really led to that end of the Golden Age. So this is Eerie number one. I almost have a complete run of Eerie. This is the last issue from Eerie. This is Eerie number 17. This is actually my favorite cover from the run. I kind of like the girl in the purple. I think she's cool. But it is a classic cover as well, because you got the skeleton, and you got so many kind of classic elements to it. The girl in terror there, and kind of stuff like that. So this is Eerie number 17. And this is from 1954. So this is at the very end of that golden age, when the Comic Code Authority is going to come in place very soon. So this is from like August of 1954. So it was only a few months later that the Comic Code Authority came into play, and it was all done. So, and this is not one of the more gruesome covers. So yeah, but I will show you some more. What else did I grab? I grabbed a bunch of stuff. Let me see a second. Okay, and as I was saying, so I brought this one. So that was Eerie. Another one that's really kind of cool is this series. This is EC. And I didn't bring much EC with me tonight because it's all in my basement. And I probably should have brought some more, but I wanted to show at least a little bit of EC. And this one is kind of a key book. This one just recently was on the Lords of the Long Box channel. They were showing this book on their top hot list, or whatever it was, trending list, or whatever it is. And this is Crime Suspense Stories number 23. Now, within the crime suspense stories, there's actually a few key issues. One is number 20, which is the famous hanging cover. And the other big one is 22, which is the famous decapitation cover. But this is another cover from the series that was kind of a major issue, like another one of these kind of major players in terms of the impact it had on comic history. Number 20 was mentioned in The Seduction of Innocent. Number 22 was the book that really caused the Comic Code Authority to happen. But this was one of the ones that was used in the Senate hearings. So what they would do is, when they would show this in the court, they would actually blow them up into these big posters and show it. and say, is this appropriate for kids? And this was pretty kind of gruesome. Like, the girl is getting murdered on the cover, so that was considered very inappropriate for kids. Okay, so quickly, somebody asked me who did the covers for Mr. Mystery. There was a few artists that did the covers. Tony Mortellaro, and hopefully I'm not brutalizing his name, did a lot of the covers. But another one was Ross Andro, who was also known for doing Wonder Woman, and Mike Esposito also was involved with a lot of the Mr. Mystery ones. So they had some pretty talented artists involved with the Mr. Mystery stuff. Yeah, so some pretty great ones. Another artist that was also involved with Mr. Mystery was Bernard Bailey, which is, he's super famous for his work on Spirit and More Fun Comics. So just some really great artists were involved with Mr. Mystery. I'm not sure if Eugene Hughes, I'm not sure. I don't. Yeah, so the last cover, the number 19, was done by Eugene Hughes. That was the only cover that he did, though. The rest of the covers were done by those other artists. So yeah, so a whole bunch of artists were involved with Mr. Mystery. It was quite a good series for that reason, that they got all these really major talented artists involved. Another series that I liked showing, and this is one I just always like to show, is one that only had one cover artist that did it, but they are some of the best good girl / horror covers out there. And this was a truly horror cover. Like, it's not like horror, like crime or something like that. This is a horror related title. This is Ghost Comics, and it was done by Maurice Whitman. So you got the classic, girl in the red dress, some ghoul kind of like all swirling around her. Just really great cover. This is Ghost Comics number 1. I didn't bring all of my Ghost Comics, but I brought a few. This is Ghost Comics number 10. Another really great cover. This one I really like. I didn't bring actually my favorite from the run, but I brought a bunch. My favorite is number 5, or number 2, I should say. This is number 5. Kind of like this multi-armed woman. Okay. This one, they're kind of pushing her off the ledge and telling her to jump. But it's done at this weird angle. So if you think about it, like, if I make it straight to the, like there, it looks like she's just about to fall off the ledge of the building. So definitely a very interesting one. Lots of leg as well. Very sexy. Good girl art cover mixed with horror. So you get all these, demons kind of wishing her to fall off the ledge, which is kind of crazy. And then we got number 3. This one's just another. Always these ghost ones would have these kind of ghosts that would be sort of haunting these women, and always this kind of very sexy good girl art covers, plus horror. One that's kind of different. It's not as much good girl art as this one from the run. This is number 7. And this one I've shown many times because I think it's kind of one of the more interesting ones from the title, because it shows like a whole bunch of different ways of dying. You got the guy hanging, you got the guy drowning. I'm not really sure. Like, somebody has to tell me what's going on with this girl. Is she strangled, or drugs? She's got drugs in her hand. Yeah, she's overdosing. So kind of crazy. And then we got, you know, some explosion thing going on down here, and this guy's operating on the woman. So just a whole bunch of weird ways that you can die, and just a very interesting thing. But these ghosts who experienced random deaths, and maybe this doctor is torturing people or something like that, and killing them in many different ways, and the ghosts are all haunting. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know. Very interesting cover for me. Okay, so I always thought that one was cool. And I'll show a few more ghost ones. This is a voodoo doll one. So we got like this kind of voodoo doll. Zoom in on it. See, this voodoo doll is kind of wearing the same dress as the woman, and it's got like pins sticking out of it. It's kind of cool. This is Ghost Comics number. What number is this? Number 8. And then we got Ghost Comics number 9. Again, the girl with the red dress. You'll notice that a lot in Golden Age. I always go on about the girl in the red dress. And she's in bondage too. So you can see she's got like chains on her hands, which is kind of cool. And these were all done by Maurice Whitman. Very good artist. I really like his stuff. So that's Ghost number 9. And then we got Ghost number 10. This is the one where the ghost is calling for him to return to her, and his lover is like saying, "Don't go, don't go." So it's kind of interesting one. And that's actually number 11, which is the last in the series. The big grail for the Ghost comics is this one. This is the one that most people chase after, and it's Ghost number 6. Again, it's the woman in the red dress, bondage cover, hero in the background, doing absolutely nothing with a gun. Always like with this kind of little gun thing. And you got the ghoul basically torturing her and maybe going to kill her or something. Who knows what he's going to do to her. So yeah, Ghost number 6. This one's sort of the key issue from the run. So I have the complete run. Oh, I actually found a bunch more Planet Comics. If you guys want to see more Planet Comics, I'm going to show some more Planet Comics. I brought, like, I had like 2 stacks of Planet Comics. So I've been really, trying to make a dent on getting the Planet Comic run. So I'm going to show you some more Planet Comics because I like them. So, here's Planet Comics number 69. I like this one because she has bunny ears. I always thought that was kind of cute. Looks like she has bunny ears. But she's actually got wings. These are some red wings that go down. And I'm not sure if those are like some weird wings on her head or something. I'm not sure what those are. But just a really kind of a cool cover. And then we got Planet Comics number 62. This one, I was sort of unlucky. It's like a big rip right there. I sort of, when I bid on this one, it was kind of funny. I was not at home, and I was looking at it on my cell phone, and I couldn't see that it was in this kind of mangled condition. I wouldn't have bid on it if I had known that it was this. I had this big rip, or big piece missing, I should say. But it's still a nice copy. It's not bad, but it's just kind of annoying that it's missing this big piece. So this is Planet Comics 62. And then we got a whole bunch more Planet Comics. This is Planet Comics number 29. And it's another great one. Who did the cover? I believe it's Graham Ingalls did the cover for this one. Another great artist from the Golden Age. And as I said, if you're just getting into collecting Golden Age comics, this is a great entry kind of comic to go for, because they're relatively affordable. 1 to 200, up kind of range. but you can pick up sort of a rough copy for a couple $100. And they're really nice. They're very cool covers. Like these kind of good, if you like good girl art, and if you like sci-fi, and you like a little bit of that horror flavor, these are really great ones to pick up. So those were some of my Planet comics. Got one more to show, and it's this one. This is kind of one of the big grails from the run. This is Planet Comics 58. And it's just like that classic cover. This was, this is one of those covers that was cover swiped by Dave Stevens and a whole bunch of other artists right into the modern age. It's like, it is one of the classic covers for Planet Comics. So Planet Comics 58, just a really cool cover. I really like the way the girl is drawn too. You can see that. So yeah, so just some cool Planet Comics. And I have to show some more EC stuff. I have one more EC book to show. This is a Wally Wood cover. This is another big grail for pre-code horror. It's like, again, a lot of classic elements. We got the hooded figure, and you got a bunch of hooded figures in behind him. I'm not sure. And you got the woman in bondage. And this is Shock Suspense Stories number 6. And this book, I was really fortunate because this book was sort of under the radar for a little while. And I just picked it up. I sort of got a good deal with somebody. Basically, yeah, they were, it spiked after I bought it. So I was quite happy that I got it for the price I did. So yeah, so those comics are scaring your puppy. Not quite. Actually, somebody came to my door in the background. So my office is right next to my front door, and so we have some people over who are just picking up their kids. And my dog goes crazy anytime somebody comes to the door. So that's what you were hearing there. Okay, so I got a ton more to show, but I'm gonna just show a few things. I was mentioning, actually I brought more of these ones too. I didn't realize. Okay, I was mentioning this book. This is the one that was mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent from Crime Suspense Stories. This is Crime Suspense Stories number 20. I was kind of mentioning this as being one of those big keys within the crime suspense story. The three big ones are 20, 22, and 23. Those three are the kind of the main big keys from the run. But there's a lot of great covers in there. There's the one where he's blowing his head off. There's like a bunch of really great covers that are also considered pretty great. This run had a lot of key books in it. And this is like a Johnny Craig cover. Johnny Craig is one of the hot artists from EC. And another. So I also I brought a bunch of random Golden Age, pre-code horror, cool books that are kind of like ones that most people don't even know about. One of the ones that was kind of like one of those series that has some kind of cool covers is Journey into Unknown Worlds. This is like kind of a cool book. I always like roller coasters and like that horror of the roller coaster. And I thought this one was kind of cool. So that's like sort of a skeleton, and the guy like gets all scared and he jumps up, scared to death. So kind of cool. And then we got another one. This was not actually a horror series, but this one was kind of a horror cover for it. This is Shadow Comics, Volume 8, number 5. So Shadow Comics actually ran for quite a while. And these Shadow Comics are very affordable, like really under the radar in terms of value. I was surprised how affordable this one was. It was under $100 kind of level. Very affordable book. but it has that sort of classic floating head horror-like elements to it. So kind of cool. And then I'll show you one more Shadow Comics. If my friend Black Box Silver and Bronze was here, he'd love this one. This is Shadow Comics Volume 7, number 3, and it's it just happened to have it next to the other one, but it's not necessarily horror, but it's kind of a really cool cover with the train coming. He likes trains a lot, so you would like this one. And the good girl bondage, where it's a classic trope of the girl being tied to the train tracks. Whenever I think of the classic movie where, you know, the bad guy always ties the girl to the train tracks. I don't know why they do that. It's something to do. And then the hero is always like trying to save them at the last second. So I always thought that was kind of cool. And so, and then some other random ones that I picked. Was Witch's Tales. I've shown this one recently, just today, on my price variance show. I showed this book. This is kind of a classic situation where you get the guy being buried alive, but it looks like you as the reader are the one that's getting buried alive, kind of. So it's kind of interesting. So this is Witch's Tales number 27. And this is a really great cover that I really liked. Phantom Witch Doctor. It's a really nice, beautiful lingerie cover. It's another thing, if you're a collector of Golden Age, another thing that people look for is sort of these lingerie covers. They're quite rare in the Golden Age, actually. And generally, even if there's lingerie panels inside the comic, they can go for more than a typical comic from that era would go, because people like the lingerie panels. So, but to have a lingerie cover is quite special. So this was the only issue from this run. It's called Phantom Witch Doctor, and it's just kind of a cool cover. And it's Kinstonler. So yeah, just a really great artist too. And another affordable series that you can, I'm just always surprised how affordable this series is Baffling Mysteries. You can pick these up for anywhere from $50 to $200, depending on grade. Very affordable, but has some really like these classic elements again, girl in the red dress, little demons and stuff like that. This is Baffling Mysteries number, I forgot what number this is. Does it say? Number 14. So yeah, kind of a cool. These were put out by Ace Comics. So just another one of these, you know, kind of cool Golden Age comics that, you know, really thrived during the whole pre-code horror age of comics during the Golden Age. And I'm going to show some more from Baffling. This is another Baffling bondage cover. And again, I think I paid like $50 or something like that for this. It wasn't that expensive. This is Baffling Mysteries number 20. Again, girl in the red dress. Always a girl in the red dress. So yeah, just kind of fun. And then another series. I like bondage covers generally. This one's really great. This one has like a bunch of cool elements. This is Chamber of Chills. Now, Chamber of Chills has some pretty great comics in general. This is Chamber of Chills number 24. It's got the woman in bondage in the background, but it also has these people that have been shrunken down, and the scientist is like, oh wait, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, you can see them. It's like, let me see if I can get it to not reflect. There. Maybe, I don't know, is it going to work? I don't know. It's not quite focusing. But you can see the kind of shrunken people, and get this weird creature in the cage in the background as well. This is like a whole bunch of nice little horror elements going on with this one. Always the mad scientist too is another thing. So I kind of like that one. So Chamber of Chills had a few really great covers as well. So those were my. I've gone through. I don't know how many books. I went through a whole bunch of books. If anyone has any questions, you can feel free to ask me, and I will do my best to try to answer them as I'm doing all this. But if not, I will probably wrap up this video. And I want to thank everyone for coming out and enjoying Halloween with me. I hope that this was fun for you guys too. And thanks for watching. Any questions before I go? Yeah, I'll give you 10 seconds. I'll give you a few seconds to ask if you want to ask. It's one of those things where, I enjoy talking about the comics. I brought some other comics, but they're more from the Eerie series. If you want to see those or whatever you like, I don't know. I have my complete SOTI collection behind me as well. So if you want to see that, I can show that as well. So thanks again for coming, and I'll see you in the next video, I guess, or you can. And check out my Wednesday video. There were some really great questions this week, so that should be fun too. So thanks again for watching. Also, I always recommend people check out my Instagram feed. I'm putting out some really great stuff on Instagram every day. Anytime I win an auction, I show it on Instagram. So you can see some of the stuff that will be in future unboxings. Not everything, but like one or two items I'll show from these auctions that I win. And you can definitely see some pretty cool stuff there. So definitely recommend you check out my Instagram. And it's just always linked in the description. And it's just Comic Collector Geek on Instagram. So pretty easy to find. So again, thanks for watching. And thanks if you've subscribed to the channel. Thank you for that. And tell friends and families to subscribe. I'm really trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. That's my kind of my goal for this year, but I'm not going to hit that goal. But I'm hoping. There's always hope. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye for now.